Right, there are currently two massive threats facing our country and culture. Now, one of them is already ongoing, and that is our lazy and idiotic approach to immigration. Now, our loose borders and the whole situation is so out of control that no matter what liberals say, it is going to have a massive long term consequence, bad impact on our society. Not just in terms of number of people coming in, but also in terms of the type of people that we can't even vet, and that's how enemies infiltrate our nation and the change of culture, generally speaking. Second threat is the moment the Labour Party or a coalition of left wing parties get into government and power in Parliament, they are going to be lowering the voting age to 16 and give voting rights to foreigners. That is already confirmed. All left wing parties have already clarified that they are going to be doing that the moment they get into power. And this is a big, big problem. Now, I've been campaigning against this for a long time. Now, Dan Hannan in the House of Lords, Lord Hannan, stood up and destroyed the argument for this vote for 16 nonsense using one simple, very, very simple example of what he actually experienced in the House of Lords. Let's watch this together.
Happened to be on a measure about the legal age at which you were allowed to take Botox as a treatment. And unlike today, when I'm, as usual on a Friday, in a minority of one or two, there was actually an extraordinary consensus on all sides. I think every single speaker argued that it was right to raise the age of consent for Botox from 16 to 18.
It is interesting, isn't it? They were being consistent, our politicians, because they said, well, Botox, well, that seems quite risky and dangerous. You need to be mature enough to decide. But then they also say 16-year-olds are so smart that they should be able to vote for everything and all important policies. They will have the power to vote on how to control our borders and whether we should defend our country against enemies on various very important issues, taxation policies. Clearly, they're mature enough for that, but not for Botox.
And peer after peer stood up to explain that 18 was the age at which you could get a mortgage or buy a bottle of wine or get a tattoo or buy a knife. And one after another, people said, yes, absolutely right. There's such a thing as an age of maturity. And if we've decided that 18 is that age, then we must end these loopholes on things like Botox, tattoos, and so on.
I mean, a little bit of consistency will help, my dear politicians or left-wing politicians who want to completely destroy our culture and our system and our country. And we have to stand up against this, and we have to campaign now before we completely lose power to the nutters. And this is a big, big threat. As I said, one of the biggest issues we have is the border policies that we currently have. And it's still apparently not a big deal. It's probably apparently not a big crisis in the eyes of the mainstream media and, generally speaking, the political class in Westminster. I hang around in Westminster a lot. I speak to a lot of MP friends and a number of other friends who work in Parliament. And they're very aware, even right-wing, conservative ones. But they don't really seem to feel that urgency. And I think this is a big problem that we have. And the other fear, or lack of fear, that there is absolutely nothing to see in terms of the urgency in Westminster is the threat of the voting age coming down the moment the socialists get into power. And this is a big, big issue. Now I'm going to allow Dan Hannan to finish this video with ending his monologue and his great speech. Before I go, don't forget the link is in the description. We are coming to Manchester on the 11th of February. Book your tickets as soon as possible. They're free of charge as a thank you to you guys for all the support. But the Tousi tour is going to start in Manchester first. There is limited capacity, so definitely book yours as soon as possible. That would be amazing. Now, let's go to Dan Hannan and finish his speech.
My lords, I suggest that one way to encourage turnout and to tackle the cynicism of some of our voters is visibly to stop playing partisan games with the franchise.